Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's 3 points for Celtic. It's 3 points which keeps us top of the table, but if you're going off the full-time reaction from Celtic fans across the Super Scoreboard, social media, the ground itself, then you'll know that it's not a 3 points that is sitting particularly well with us at this moment in time, because it wasn't the best performance from Celtic today, was it? Let's talk about that. Hello, welcome back. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Celtic 1, Ross County 0. We follow that up after the 1-0 win of Rangers earlier this afternoon. So it means that nothing changes. Goal difference stays the same. Goals scored stays the same. And the points stay the same as what it was the match day before this. But it's probably not the really exciting start to the second half of the season we were hoping for. Now, I know that we played Bucky Thistle last week, we got a good win, yada yada, but in terms of the league football coming back, yeah, probably not as good as we'd like to be. A really painful 90 minutes to sit through. We're quite lucky we got the job done early on in the game, scoring that first goal, and when that goal went in, you might have been thinking to yourself, strap yourselves in, boys, this is going to be a cracker. This could be 3, could be 4, could be more. No, that wasn't to be the case. 1-0 is what it finished, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. It was a painful watch from start to finish for Celtic this afternoon. And honestly, I don't want to get into the habit of over-exaggerating, although some people think I do over-exaggerate sometimes, right? That's what happens when you constantly add your views on a platform like this. I don't mean to over-exaggerate, but I genuinely do believe that that was our worst performance, our worst domestic performance of the season. I mean that when I say it. I think it was worse than how we played against Hearts when they beat us at Celtic Park. I think it was worse than when we dropped points against Motherwell. I think it was worse when we dropped points against Kilmarnock. I genuinely do think that was our worst performance of the season. And that it's mad to say that because we won the game. And there is like a couple of schools of thought that you can look at games like this and you can say that, you know, these things happen on the run in for a title. You get ugly games and it's just about getting the job done, that you have to go through the tough times, that sometimes you can't batter teams 4 and 5-0 every week, and I absolutely understand that. You know, I try my best to be as level-headed as possible, but if you're isolating this 90 minutes on its own, this one particular game, oh, it was hard to watch. It was painful. It was really bad. And I genuinely think I got more enjoyment out of watching us lose against Hearts a few months ago. I thought we had more chances. I was on the edge of my seat a bit more. Today, it was really dry. We looked void of any energy and precision in what we were doing. One side of that being the energy that we tend to have, and some of our players just looked to be void, looked to be gone. Players like Kyogo, Abada, Palma, they looked like empty jerseys. And then, you know, when I talk about precision, you look how sloppy we were today with our chances, with our passing. We were just lacking absolutely everything in the park today. And, you know, we could have sat there for another 90 minutes and we wouldn't have got a goal. We were that poor. And we're really lucky that towards the end of the game, Ross County never managed to find a goal and never got themselves back into the game. We left a lot on the table for Ross County to maybe try and grab towards the end, and we've seen that story before at Celtic Park. It's how we dropped points against Motherwell this season, and it looked very close to maybe that happening again. I don't know why we played like that today. I don't know what the whole story is right now. I would love to get to the bottom of it, but this is like one of these games and one of these moments where it feels like there is a culmination of all the problems going on at Celtic Park. That goes up for on and off the park. It's all coming together at the one time, and it's making for some really toxic reading. It's making for some really negative vibes around the club. Fans are really disheartened with how the January transfer window has went. Brendan Rodgers seems to be disheartened with how the January transfer window has went. The team aren't playing anywhere near attractive enough football, and that comes down to both the squad and the manager as well. There's just a lot in that game that just kind of brings out all the feelings, and if we don't eliminate that feeling soon from Celtic Park, you're gambling a league title ultimately. Rangers are a team who are getting themselves together. They've been putting in results. Yeah, we beat them at Celtic Park, and let's not forget that, but you can't just bank on those games. You know, they're getting their stuff together, they're making signings. And meanwhile, you look at the East End of Glasgow, you look at us, and we're not really doing that, especially off the park. We're not doing anything to make the club a viable threat or conversation moving towards this league title. And arguably, that we're making it easier for Rangers to get back into this. And that's a horrifying thought. Let's try and talk about the game for as little as there is to talk about, because I think that it was just such a boring 90 minutes to sit through in all levels. Like, it's not brought a lot of highlights out from the game, and we've got the penalties to talk about as well. But we'll try and go from the start very quickly. We got that goal early on, which was a bit of a mess in itself. That was pretty much a highlight of what was to come. You know, that summed up the 90 minutes that were about to follow. It was a mess of a goal, just like it was a mess of a game. And you know, you'd think that would give us something to kick on from, but it never really did. And I actually thought that the following 10 minutes of the game, Ross County actually looked like the better side to me. I thought Celtic struggled to get themselves together after that goal and open the game with a bit of aggression and a bit of control as well. I just thought that we were very lackadaisical. I thought that Ross County looked more hungry, and probably that's the reason for that. Is going a goal behind so early. You want to get yourself back into the game, but I just thought we struggled. And then a golden opportunity came along. A golden opportunity for Celtic to kind of calm the game down. Twice. The penalty situation is beyond a joke now. You know, I love to sit back and laugh about it. I do. But you can't now. It's beyond concerning. And Lewis Palmer, who was someone who came in at the start of the season, looked to be a fix, a solution to the penalty missing issues, he's now part of that problem. He missed 2 penalties in the space of a minute today. He got an opportunity to retake his original miss, changed nothing about the approach, the hit, where he's putting the ball, the power, nothing. 2 easy saves for the Ross County keeper, and this has been going on for years now with our penalties. It's so hard to actually understand what is the root of said issue, but why is it so bad? Penalties are something that can win you league titles. Genuinely, they can. Like, the difference of winning a league in a league like the Scottish Premiership, when it could come down to the wire, could be a penalty being scored or missed. And we have missed how many now this? I should have looked up how many exactly we've missed this season. But it's a crazy amount, and we have got away with it far too many times. Got away with it today because we had a chance there to go 2-0 up very early in the game. And suddenly the conversation changes. You know what I mean? You're starting to ask yourself after that, if the ball goes in the back of the net, how many could this be today? And we didn't even get the opportunity for that. Why? Because we missed 2. We missed 2. I don't know what goes on at Lennoxtown when it comes to hitting penalties. It's not working. And if it's the coaches that have been there for the longest time, your Kennedys, your Strachan's, and etc., if it's them that's the reason for us missing these penalties, that needs sorted. And after that, we didn't really kick on. If you want to talk about the 90 minutes in isolation, the second half, we had utter control. We had the ball, but the football was so horrid. It was bland. It was lifeless. Players look hesitant to move the ball forward. You know, amount of times Liam Scales would get the ball and there's an obvious pass forward. And this isn't me just targeting Liam Scales. I'm just using him as the example here. The amount of times he had the ball and he just wouldn't move it. But then I don't blame him, because to the left of him is Alexandro Bernabe, who is... I'll stop myself before I get cancelled. You know, we're so hesitant. Every player looked hesitant to move the ball forward. And then when we did move it forward, players like Kyogo, it looked as though he hadn't played football before in his life. There was a few times he had a chance to break through and the ball's getting caught up under his feet, or he's leaving it behind him and he just doesn't have that composure. We just looked really, really stupid, is the word I want to use, when we tried to move up the park with the ball today. And I don't know what is going on. There needs to be an injection of quality into this team, because right now there's so many players across that park that are not giving us their all at the minute, or they're simply not good enough. And that's when you turn your attentions to somebody like Bernabe today. My God almighty. As I said, I'll hold off because I don't want to be looked at as a bad man. I really don't. But my God almighty, I would have done a better job at left back this afternoon. And I just feel like there's so many players that looked so... You know, players have off days. Even someone like Matt O'Reilly. Matt O'Reilly was garbage today. He was really poor. But they have off days, you know what I mean? But there was just... There's too many of that. When that happens to all 11 players, and I think it was all 11 players today. Even Joe Hart's passing it straight to the Ross County player at some point in the game. All 11 players decided to turn up and have an all-time stinker. And that's just... It makes for a painful watch all round. But these problems are quickly surfacing. They've surfaced for months. These aren't new issues. These aren't new problems. These are issues that have been underlying and coming up through the surface from day dot when this season kicked off. And we'll talk about that right now. If the Celtic board we're watching today's game. That was all the evidence that they needed about what we've been crying out for. Number one, a left back. If they watch Bernabeu's performance, they will have to understand that we can't go on when Greg Taylor is injured with him playing at left back. And I know some people might say we should just move Scales over. We shouldn't have to compromise like that. That shouldn't be the position we're in. We should have somebody better than Greg Taylor, let alone better than Bernabeu. So that the board should be watching that and they should understand that. The other one, striker. Kyogo has been off the boil all season, and I'm not hearing any more about how Rodgers has ruined him. You can talk about Rodgers' system all you like, because I know Rodgers' system has been questionable at times, and especially today, but Kyogo is just as much to blame. He has been very poor in recent weeks. Very poor in recent weeks. And at times like that, you need another striker to begin him a kick up the arse and coming in and scoring goals. That ain't O, and O's not here. So that's another one the board have to look at. Look no further than the performance Kyogo had today. Get another striker, bring them in. Two positions we have been crying out for from January 1st, before January 1st, and it's still not addressed. That's your evidence, Peter. That's your evidence, Dermot. That's your evidence, Michael. Sort it out. Give the manager the backing that he needs, and let the team get some life injected into it, which is desperately needed. Otherwise, this is going to be a painful few months for Celtic Football Club. Ultimately, we picked up the 3 points, which is important, and it's the main thing. And I'm happy that we've picked up 3 points, obviously. But it's just, you can't go on winning games like that this season. You can't. It will create a sort of breaking point in the Celtic support, if that's not already been today, to be quite honest. And I know there's, we are, as fans of either side in Glasgow, Celtic or Rangers, we always get looked at and laughed at by their non-derby clubs. Like, oh, it's pathetic, blah, 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 you won the game. But the standards at Celtic Football Club have been set over the last 4 or 5 years. That includes Brendan Rodgers' last term as manager. And those standards are quickly slipping. And there's a reason we set those standards. It's because we think of ourselves as highly as we do. And we should be adhering to those standards on a long-term basis for the foreseeable future. So, wake up. Make the signings, make the changes. We need to be better than that. When we play at Pittodrie next week, we cannot play like that. Right, that does it for today. I think that this is a match reaction I could actually drag on for about half an hour, 40 minutes, but I'm not going to. Why? Because the Royal Rumble's tonight, and I want to enjoy myself. I'm not going to put myself in a bad mood. So if you've enjoyed, like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts tomorrow and in the comments. And tomorrow, we'll go over the game and the problems more in depth, shall we? Right? I'll see you then.